What is your number one obscure animal fact? Not that incredible, but never hear it and was unexpected. Many common ants live for years. I definitely pictured them as short lifespans, and definitely felt a bit bad about the crazy number I've killed. Not that I stopped. In Africa, certain tribes communicate directly with birds called honey guides, letting them know they are ready to hunt. The honey guides then lead them to hidden beehives in trees. The tribesmen break open the hives and take the honey, an important resource in their diet, and leave the honey guides the bee larvae and wax to feast on. In fact, it's the only known example of targeted two-way signals between people and a free-living species. If a crow kills another crow, the murderer will be trialed, and if found guilty, the crows will kill the murderer. It's basically crow court. Crows can also remember in perfect detail what a human face looks like and can describe it to other crows, so don't be mean to crows. Comment your favorite crow fact below this, or just how much you love crows. Zombies are real, a group of fungi that live inside different insects. The fungi takes control over the insect and will either seek out a high point then bite down on something, or if it is inside an ant, seek for the nest. Once the body is secured, the fungus will burst out of the insect and spread its spores. Ants will carry infected individuals away from the nest to minimize the spread. Spiders are one of the only animals that stores some of its sensory processing functionality outside of its body. Studies have shown that a spider's reaction to a movement in its web is less like a person responding to the floor moving, and more like a person responding to a nervous input from their leg. Spiders use their webs as a direct extension of their body instead of as a tool. Toss-up between spiders pump fluid, like hydraulics on heavy equipment, to extend their legs. Instead of using iron within the hemoglobin molecule to fix and transport oxygen, several species of arthropoda use copper and have green/blue blood as a result. Rabbits blink 10 to 15 times per hour, while humans blink 15 to 20 times per minute. Owls vomit pellets made of bones and fur of animals that they ate. Koala fingerprints are quite similar to human ones. They've actually interfered with crime scenes where police found koala fingerprints and mistaken them for human ones. There is a fruit fly that produces sperm cells 20 times longer than their own body. The equivalent for a human would be a sperm cell that spans diagonally across a basketball court. Penguins have eye socket desalination glands to remove salt from water. Frozen mice explode if you microwave them. That Obscure Animals is, in fact, an alt-rock band in Austin, Texas. Dolphins sometimes like to do it in the blowhole. Not sure if it's obscure, but only 2 out of 10 ginger cats are female. Most beavers cannot legally fly an F-22 Raptor. Giraffes, if they were real, would have the same number of neck bones as humans. David Attenborough outlived a Galapagos tortoise. R.I.P. Lonesome George. If you stacked every elephant on Earth on top of one another, they would die. Sloths sometimes confuse their arms for branches and end up falling out of the tree. Bearded dragons don't have diaphragms. If they get stuck on their backs, they will suffocate. Swans can be gay. Wombats have backwards-facing pouches so they don't fill them with dirt while digging burrows. The reason cats like plastic bags is because it's very similar to their mating hormones. Can't remember the name of it, so when you see a cat playing with a bag, it's because it's aroused. Reindeer have clicky ankles and don't just click when they're on your rooftop delivering presents. Hopefully I'm not the only one reading most of this thread in the True Facts Guy's voice. The sheep that produce steel wool have no natural enemies. You can train ferrets and falcons/eagles to hunt rabbits and vermin together. You just shove your ferret down a hole and let the falcon catch whatever gets flushed out. The blue whale is actually the second largest animal to ever live behind your mum. Can someone please upvote my comment so I can get a notification and read these later? I need all these facts for 5 weeks worth of conversations. Probably already said, but I'm sharing it anyway. An ostrich's eye is bigger than its brain. An ostrich's eye is 5 times the size of a human eye. An ostrich's eye is the largest of all bird eyes. Their eyes are about the size of a pool ball, like the kind you go to a bar and poke with a stick, not the kind you toss around in water, all of which excerpt for the brain part seems reasonable seeing as they are the largest bird in the world. They aren't the brightest, but they have very keen eyesight. Also, contrary to popular belief, they do not bury their heads in the sand/dirt/ground when they are scared or sense a predator. They aren't that bird-brained, haha, bad joke. but instead they are more likely to flop down on the ground and not move, trying to blend in with the ground so that they aren't seen. I don't know why I know these things, but it makes for a fun random fact story. Cats have 9 lives. Scorpions have 4 pairs of lungs, so if some get filled with sand, they can still breathe. On a side note, I once made a very high person copiously vomit by stating this fact. It was hilarious. Alligator incubation 93 degrees Fahrenheit and above produces mostly males and 86 and below produces mostly females. Whatever claw a lobster uses first becomes their crusher claw. The other one becomes the pincher claw. Penguins have knees. There's a kind of wood ant in the Central American rainforest that tastes exactly like bourbon. Hippopotamus milk is pink. The Subxeris penguins have their seminal fluid in a sac in their foot, they then kick their toe in an egg to fertilize it. The nesting period of an emperor penguin is 63 days. Hippos can't actually swim. They walk along the bottom of rivers and lakes. The otter, much like Hitler, is ticklish. I heard that in a stand-up special, but it's literally all I remember. Don't even remember the comedian. It's always the first thing I think of hearing a question like this. My cat's breath smells like cat food. Polar bear has black skin. A moose in Maine is closer to Africa than an alligator in Florida. A group of ravens is called an unkindness. Alcatraz means pelican. When rhinos and lions urinate, it sprays backwards. Not that unusual, but it does have a lovely word to describe it. Retromingent. Lobsters don't die of old age. Whales can in fact get rabies, but the chance of them getting it is very, very low. Polar bears are clear. A cat can survive being thrown out of a plane. When the penguins lose their child, they go and steal another penguin's child. Lots of good armadillo facts here, which I'm loving. Here's another. Female armadillos can delay pregnancy via preventing the fertilized egg from implanting for several months if the conditions are suboptimal. Lobsters are biologically immortal. Hippos are an endless source of fascinating facts, including, hippos cannot swim because their lower leg bones are solid. There's no marrow, it's bone all the way through. The closest relative to the hippo is the whale. Hippos are nocturnal and vegetarian. Hippos are terrestrial animals. They basically snooze in rivers to chill out until night comes. Instead of sweating, they secrete a blood-red fluid that seems to have rapid healing properties. Mantis shrimps have 16 different color receptors. We only have 3. They can also punch so fast that it can boil water around the impact area. Pistol shrimp can pop a bubble that creates an area as hot as the surface of the sun. Everything fears the honey badger. The fingerprints of a koala are so indistinguishable from humans that there has even been a handful of times they have been confused at a crime scene. One of the only natural predators to a moose is an orca. Moose like to swim in the ocean and thus an orca eats them. Ask Valtteri Bottas. I'm a dog. My nephew can't load a dishwasher. He also is a slob. Cats have loose skin, including a pouch of skin on their belly, primordial pouch, that allows them to stretch out and keeps their skin from limiting their mobility when they jump and slink about. Some spiders change colors to blend into their environment. It's a defense mechanism. 1 horsepower equals about 48 duck power. A South American tapir is 36 inches high at the shoulder. Penguins can't read. Horseshoe crabs have blue blood, which is essential to creating contamination tests for medication. Hippos are land whales. The colossal squid has 3-inch curved teeth throughout its tentacles that spin. Hippos spend their lifetime underwater. They're born in water, give birth in water, they sleep underwater, they even have a sleep reflex that lets them surface for air without waking up. Hippos can't swim. Love that the top 2 comments are about armadillos. Seahorse males give birth and so do sea dragons. The males get pregnant and give birth, not the females. It's impossible for chinchillas to get fleas, because their fur is so dense any fleas would suffocate inside it. Female octopi go crazy after they give birth and start eating themselves. Oysters are natural filters and can be used to clean dirty water. Digustri and Una live themselves if they're left alone. They're known to jump from heights or starve themselves. There is one example, keep me honest, of a world war in the animal/insect kingdom. Sorry insects, one no. It happened with a certain species of ants performing genocide into another, and the result is trillions of ant lives lost. Praying mantis will mimic being caught in a web to draw a spider out of hiding. The plural of octopus is octopuses, not octopi. Lobsters' teeth are inside their stomach. Polar bears are not white. Their fur is actually translucent. Polar bears have a 3-day mating season every year, but they also have a higher chance of having twins, 2/3 of litters, which is why they aren't dying out as fast. Females have also been known to adopt lost cubs. They also have an average of 5 litters in a lifetime due to the 2 to 2.5 year grace period in which they stay with their cubs the whole time. They also can go months without eating despite not hibernating like most bears because less than 2% of their hunts are successful. 80% of pelican babies break their necks learning how to land. The soldiers of termite Paracapriterms nitobii, world's fastest recorded animal movement ever, at about 400 km per hour per 250 miles per hour. Their jaws are asymmetrical and snap straight forward, perfectly adapted to defend the tunnels they live in. These termites also do not eat wood, but humus, not to be confused with hummus. IIRC 40% of termite species don't eat wood at all, but don't quote me on that. There are also termites that exclusively graze on lichens like cattle and termites that grow fungus. Polar bears can smell a seal pup a mile away under a feet of snow. Polar bears have enough vitamin A in their livers to kill a person if eaten. So, keep that in mind next time you're around polar bear livers. Mantis shrimp have between 12 to 16 photoreceptor cells in their eyes. Humans have 3. They can see colors on the spectrum we cannot even fathom. Tortoises are highly intelligent and have excellent long-term memory. They can learn by observation and imitation of other tortoises alone. They can also be trained with positive reinforcement by being rewarded for a deserving action. New Zealand freshwater eels live till 100 and swim all the way to Tonga to breed. It's really easy to hypnotize a pet rabbit. Apparently, some lizards can regrow their tails. Giraffe have the same number of cervical, neck, vertebrae as humans, 7. Pound for pound, jaguars have the strongest bite force of any cat and won the strongest bites of any mammal. The lowest estimate I've seen is 1,300 psi and the highest I've seen is 2,000 psi, but 1,500 psi seems to be the most agreed upon bite force. If you eat polar bear liver you will die, from vitamin overdose. Egg. Birds aren't real. Hippos are negatively buoyant and can effectively run underwater. Giraffes don't have vocal cords. Turkey vultures will occasionally projectile vomit as a defense mechanism. Bees dance to show other bees at their hive they've found nectar. Male ants can't have fathers or sons, but do have grandfathers and grandsons. Koala cubs eat the excrement of their mothers to get the gut biome they need to digest eucalyptus leaves. Some bugs and lizards are exposed to a ton of other weird stuff. Whale milk has about the consistency of toothpaste, I hate it too. Hyena ladies wear their ovaries on the outside. Possums are marsupials. A flock of crows is called a murder. Hippos can fit a wheelbarrow full of leaves in their mouth. That was the first cool fact I told my mom from first grade. We both remember it. I'm 48. The weight of ants on Earth outweighs humans. Hippo milk is pink due to hipposudoric acid and noroposudoric acid. The first is reddish and the second is bright orange in color. Possums are the only North American marsupial. Sloths can hold their breath underwater for longer than dolphin. Cheetahs can't retract their claws or climb trees. Dolphins have to actively think to breathe. Female ferrets can die if not mated while in season. There are 1.4 billion insects per human on the planet. If you took a blue whale and cut it into 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot cubes, it would die. According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to lift its fat little body off the ground. That every human is just as animal as any other. Hippos are vegetarian. I don't know how, but my cat has been able to give me poison ivy because she travels into our timber on the daily, which has vast amounts of poison ivy, so I guess poison ivy can be contagious via fur on animals. I had a dove fly into my house and die. By the time I got downstairs, a squirrel was already eating it. The exact size of an average beaver pee-pee is 30 millimeters. Thank you Valtteri Bottas for this amazing knowledge. Despite the propaganda and terrorizing depictions in books and films, the venom of a tarantula is only as strong as the venom of a common wasp. People in icy climates and frozen areas have been eating mammoth steaks as of pretty recently. Rhinoceros horn is made of compressed hair. Penguins have knees, but they can't use them because they are stiff. Humans actually produce light, but it's too low for human eyes to be able to see. It only takes the same strength to bite off a carrot as it takes to bite off a finger. But there is a barrier, psychological, in your brain that prevents you from doing that. Pineapple has an enzyme that destroys human cells. So when you eat a pineapple, it eats you back. Only one species of penguin lives above the southern hemisphere. Also, I wish I was a penguin sometimes. A group of owls is called a parliament of owls. Birds aren't real. You can drop newborn puppies on the floor from 6 to 8 feet high and they just bounce and live folded hands. They're basically born not born, so you can like swing them around then revive them. All edible figs contain a fig wasp that pollinated the flower and became trapped inside. You're reading these in that TikTok guy's voice. That a lobster, a complex animal, grows and lives forever if it doesn't get eaten by someone. Red pandas are a part of the fox family. Ravens used to be white. The human being can elongate its ears by pulling on them their entire lives. That squirrels climb faster than they run. Bearcats smell like popcorn. Squirrels' brains get bigger in the winter. Harbor seals shed their first coat in the womb. A roly-poly doesn't have lungs because it breathes with gills. A hedgehog's skin is so thick that if you ran over one with your car, its guts would come flying out its mouth and you'd have a lovely flat gutless doorstop. Echidnae have a four-headed wiener. Humans are also animals. Everything about humans. Cats have 3 rows of whiskers. I learned this playing Trivial Pursuit, and I was surprised. I thought they had at least 4. Some flamingos live in salt lakes so cold at night the water freezes, and so hot during the day a human can die just staying under the sun for a few minutes. Also, they can drink near boiling water. Owls can twist their heads 270 degrees. Male goats perform oral on themselves to completion. Squirrels cannot die from fall damage due to having a very low terminal velocity. Elephants walk on their tippy toes. Most hippopotamuses are really just super dopopotamuses. Giant pandas have 6 toes on each paw. A whale's vomit can make you a billionaire. Horses have the largest eye of land creatures. Polar bear fur is fiber optic. A possum is spelled with an O. Mountain goats aren't goats. Cheetahs are not big cats. They are very large small cats.